What I want them to do, I guess, if they have to rework the game and rework the story, I think it'd be great to just introduce new characters into it and just make the main character a little more important to the overall theme. That way, it appeases Korean players, but then doesn't drastically change the, you know, like the style, the vision that they had for the game. As long as this is a very minor alteration, as long as they are just kind of like gonna attempt to refocus the main character to make the main character a little more integral to the story, I think it'll be perfectly fine. I think as long as they don't like retcon the current existing relationships, then it should be okay. I think once you retcon it, then you've crossed the line. Okay, so this is all the information. Let's take a look. Did you guys hear about the Chaos Zero Nightmare drama from Korea about the Owen situation? I have no idea. Typical Korean chuds making a mountain out of a molehill. I'm grateful they did because we get more freebies. Okay, I guess let's take a look. Again, I don't see anything posted on their Twitter. Maybe they just didn't want to address it yet, or but they did address it on their website, so it's surprising that it's not listed here. Chat, by the way, if you have not already, join our Twitter community, the Gacha Hub, so you stay up to date with everything going on in the genre and don't miss out. Okay. An official apology was made on the official On Stove website. Director's apology and compensation distribution added on the 2nd of November. That's tomorrow. Hello, this is the Chaos Zero Nightmare team. Today's live stream held in Korea. We apologize for the recent service issues and shared plans for compensation. We would like to share the detailed information below. So this isn't just for Korea though, right? This is for global. So everyone is going to be compensated in the same form. You know what? That is okay. That is okay. I am happy being equally compensated, fairly compensated, rather than what Black Beacon did, which was compensate China only. A translated summary of the live stream is currently being prepared and will be shared in a separate notice tomorrow. We sincerely apologize for the inconvenience experienced shortly after the launch. Your feedback is valuable. Okay, so 10 signal amplifier anchors will be distributed to your in-game mailbox every Sunday for 5 weeks. So we get 50 free polls? We just get 50 free polls for logging in each week. Holy crap, that is sick. Dude, yes. Okay, nice. But how terrible must this be, though? I just want to preface this entire thing by stating I love Chaos Zero Nightmare. It is by far one of the top 3 best gacha game releases of 2025. But no game, no studio is infallible, and everyone can make mistakes. I think the best way to tackle a mistake is to tackle it head on, admit your fault, compensate your players, be transparent with things, and then everyone will walk away from it happy. But apparently there was a summary of the emergency live stream held. There are some errors. It's an AI video summary. Okay. Conducted a live broadcast to issue a comprehensive apology for the game's sufficient or significant post-launch failures. There were not many, man. I'm gonna be honest, there were not many. There were not many failures. It was pretty well received. It's about something stupid. Okay. I figured it was going to be something stupid, but hey, if they do something dumb, or if it's over something menial or minor, and we get 50 free balls, baby. He accepted full personal responsibility for widespread service instability, a critically flawed main story that marginalizes the player, and the mass resignation of the original scenario team, which he attributed directly to his excessive intervention. Okay, no, that is really cool. Like, genuinely, that is very cool, right? He accepted responsibility and criticism for everything. That is very good. That's a sign of someone that I think that is a good leader. That right there is a good leader because he accepted that he was the one responsible for the overall, I'm not going to say failure, it says failure, but for the state of the game. But yeah, excessive intervention, mass resignation of the OG team. Yeah, so I don't know what that means. Like, I understand what it means, but I don't know if that is actually like genuine and true, or if it's due to the AI translating things. In response, a series of decisive actions were announced. Such promises a complete overhaul of the main story's first 5 chapters. A complete overhaul. Wait, what does that mean for us that played it? Like, I'm at halfway through chapter 3. Does that mean that am I gonna have to play through chapter 1 through chapter 5 after this gets rolled out? Does complete overhaul mean they're gonna change the entire game and make it more, since he stated here that they marginalized the player, are they gonna make it more like main character focused? Is that the thing? Is that what they're planning on doing? That's interesting. Including new voice acting. Real? I mean, says story and some of the cards don't make sense. I mean, yeah, there's definitely like the story is very good, but it very much so can be convoluted at times. But I don't think that's just an issue with this necessarily. I think that's just like a fundamental flaw with gacha games as a whole. There's a lot of convoluted nonsense that's just kind of condensed down into a game, right? Arknights has it, Punishing Raven has it, Wuwa has it, all of Hoyo's games have it. A target completion date the first half of the coming year. To compensate for technical issues, players receive 10 polls weekly throughout November, which is very cool. Director also addressed specific community concerns, including monetization. So, like, they're gonna adjust the rates for gacha to make it better? Stellasora, hello? Localization inconsistencies, that's a big one. That is definitely a big one. I've noticed. I think a lot of people have stressed their concerns be for new characters. Maybe they'll introduce new characters into the game. Definitely. They're mad because they felt marginalized. Yeah. So basically, you know how some games have, like, you know, in WoW there's Rover, and for the most part, Rover is the central driving factor behind the game with which the story is perceived through. There's some gacha games out there that have the opposite, where you're a character that exists within the world and you watch the world, the situations, the stories, and the characters unfold together. So I guess Korean players wanted a focus on the main character rather than the larger cast of characters. And ideological controversies. What? I mean, is that just regarding, like, from the Korean perspective? Okay, sure. Owen held hands with Ray, got complimented by Orlia, and helped drag Renault away from Chaos on Chapter 1. They're retconning everything. They're calling it NTR. What? Vowing to revise content to eliminate any player doubt. He concluded with a personal appeal asking that criticism be directed at him rather than the development team, and affirmed his commitment to not run away and restore the game's quality based on a player-centric philosophy. I mean, I guess what they could do here, I don't want them to change the story. I like the story. I think the story is dark and messed up and very fun to play through. What I want them to do, I guess, if they have to rework the game and rework the story, I think it'd be great to just introduce new characters into it and just make the main character a little more important to the overall theme. That way, it appeases Korean players, but then doesn't drastically change the style, the vision that they had for the game. Yo, I don't mean to interrupt the video, but I need to take a moment here to thank all my incredible patrons over on Patreon whose support continues to allow for me to do regular videos like this every single day on this channel. Thank y'all so much, including our YouTube channel members. You guys mean the world to me. So do you guys as viewers as well. Now, without further ado, let's continue. So they acknowledge their core failures. There's service instability and tactical issues as well. Critical flaws in the main story narrative. And that is specifically player alienation. The core narrative flaw was identified as positioning the player as an observer rather than the protagonist. He recognized problems, stating the fact that game's characters are building bonds only with characters other than the protagonist is clearly a mistake. Yeah, they're gonna change it to Chaos Harem 0. He is aware of these story problems prior to launch. However, in a desire to meet the promised release schedule, he made the rash decision to proceed, intending to fix issues in later updates. He described the mindset as thinking to... So everyone globally is happy with it, but is he really going to drastically change it to cater only to Korean players? Because if that's the case, what about the global players? There are plenty of global players that don't give a flying fuck about harems. And that is evidenced by the fact that the game has done so well and been so positively received globally. So if you make a drastic change like that, I mean, you're doing it at the expense of global players. Now, I don't know the severity of the changes, the actual extent of the changes in question, but given you said a complete overhaul, I'd say it's pretty significant, right? Technically already Chaos Harem 0 outside of the main story. Welcome to Gacha. They'll make Chaos Harem Nightmare. What's a hate of Chaos Harem Nightmare? I love the game so far. Honestly, Korean players are just upset that the main character isn't like an obsessive point in the story. That's what I've heard so far. Staff departures, development process issues, comprehensive remediation plan, overhaul of the main story, fundamentally recenter the story on the player character, the captain, as the sole protagonist of the world. The sole protagonist of the world, chat. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt here. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I will wait and see how drastic these changes are before I, ultimately make up my mind on them, because it might just be a recentering, a slight recentering, right? But that does not sound good at all. I genuinely don't think that sounds good at all. Protagonist centrality. The structure that causes the protagonist to be excluded by surrounding characters will be fundamentally destroyed. I mean, again, that's gonna be a core alteration of like the actual storytelling. Character revision. Controversial characters will be completely revised to eliminate narrative problems. Okay. Atmospheric enhancement. The story's dark and desolate tone tone will be amplified with greater focus on narrative weight and psychological depth. I mean, that sounds cool to me. Like, I don't think it needs to, but that kind of sounds good to me too. Love the game too much to just leave because of that. Yeah. So, I mean, if they drastically change it just to cater to a few upset Korean players, then sure. That would probably be grounds for me to quit. But if it's only minor changes to kind of like integrate the main character a little more into the story, then I think that might be okay. Because if it aligns more with their original creative vision, then cool. I think that's fine. That's fine as long as it fits their original creative vision. As long as they're not just catering to some upset Korean players, just like Girls Frontline 2 did to some upset Chinese players. Just like Snowbreak has done for some upset Chinese players. The premise of the story shouldn't just revolve around one person, though. I 100% agree. 100% agree. Full production. The overhaul will be a comprehensive effort, including new professional voice recordings, not just text changes. I mean, again, that sounds okay. Compensation, localization, translation improvement, adjustments to gameplay monetization, the coupling, controversy, and player alienation. Players express frustration with non-player characters forming relationships with each other, further sidelining. Yo, I don't give a flying fuck if the characters have relationships with other... That enhances the game. I think one of the most contentious points of Wuthering Waves has been the lack of inclusion of other characters. People were like, yo, how come Augusta doesn't recognize Yuno? Why aren't there more scenes furthering Augusta and Yuno's relationship? When we had, spoiler alert by the way, when we had the Avengers Assemble moment at the end of 2.7, people all around the world rejoiced. The reason they rejoiced was because so many characters now were forming new, unique bonds and relationships with one another. That fleshes out characters and allows for new interactions to form. And that is a great way of making the world feel lived in and full. Making player interactions and relationships only around you, the central character? Not that many people are happy with that. Kim Hyung-seok admitted the development team did not fully recognize the impact of this issue before launch. It's not a big issue. We looked at the revenue for the game. It's doing fantastic. And it literally, when you look at the Play Store ratings for Chaos Zero Nightmare, dude, it's at 4.7 stars. You don't get much higher than that. You do not get much higher than that. The reason it is rated so highly is because of the kind of game it is, not the kind of game that the small fraction of Korean players believe it should be. He stated this problem was exacerbated by the core failure of the protagonist not being the center of the story. In the future, relationships between non-protagonist characters will be handled in external content such as side quests and side stories and webtoons. Really? Future relationships between non-protagonist characters are going to be side content only. No more furthering the relationships between characters in the main story. I mean, that's kind of horseshit, bro. That's kind of horseshit. No, that's a terrible design choice. This is literally the exact opposite of what global gacha gamers want. Ideological controversies. Yeah, I was wondering what that was. Certain in-game content led to community suspicion that the game was promoting specific feminist ideology. Yo, don't tell me it was that again. It's gonna become super shallow. It really will. No, I completely agree. If you remove all of those like inter-player connections, then you're left with just, hi, I'm the main character, goon over me, let me goon over you, let's just, you know, join my little harem. Yeah. So the director made a clear and definitive statement on the company's position. I want to stay clear, the company is the one that does not support any specific ideology. He acknowledged that content has created discomfort and suspicion, promised to revise all such content one by one so players will not have a single doubt. I haven't seen anything promoting like really bad whatever feminist issues they have in Korea. I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm saying I haven't seen a single person actually discuss it. But I did see this, chat. My reaction to the Korean community drama. 1,400 upvotes. And then another one. 600 upvotes from just a couple hours ago. Live Renoa reaction to the Korean drama. Oh, okay. So, I wonder how they'll showcase the relationship of other male characters moving forward. Luke and Lucas already have a nice balance with Beryl. Judas's connections with Azalante and Luke. Lewis is teased to have some past interaction with the ship's doctor. Yeah. So they're gonna gut everyone, right? Time to play Resident Solstice. I think Resident Solstice is a very unique, fun game. Actually, So basically what they're planning is to just gut all male interactions, right? That's what they mean. The story will be dog shit if all the male characters can't talk to female characters. I can't wrap my head around it. Like, I don't want to take this out of context, okay? I don't want to sit here and like doom the game or talk shit about the game, because I think this is, again, the best gacha release of the year. Like, disregarding Do It Night Abyss, because it's not really a gacha. Like, character gacha, anyway. I don't want to doom post it, but at the end of the day, holy shit. They just want to remove, they want to go the Snowbreak route, the Girls Frontline 2 route, right? Where they take all the cool, the fun, the engaging male content and just toss it out the window because some Korean players are upset. So that's the fact that they're prioritizing rewarding a small fraction of the community at the expense of the rest of the community blows my mind. I don't want to say the game is going to fail. I don't want to say the game is going to suffer. I don't want to say the game is going to EOS because of this as a direct result of this, but a lot of us global players enjoy the game for what it is. Like we all enjoy the game for the game that the game is now, right? The story that is there now, the characters for what the characters are now, for all the stuff that they've been through, all the stuff they're gonna be through, or go through rather, and then you're just gonna like wipe a large chunk of it to appease a few people that don't like the fact that men and women can talk. That blows my mind. That was crazier yet is the dev's response. Yeah, that blows my mind. Are they even romantic? Well, I mean, someone said that there was a past relationship between the doctor and one of the characters. So maybe. It's a crazy part. The dev even responded at all to them. They didn't need to. They could have literally just not. Like, this is such, like, genuinely, this is such a minor issue that they're amplifying and magnifying. You know what I mean? This could have so easily have just been glossed over and avoided, but instead they want to focus on it. They should have just changed it for the Korean server. I mean, you're not wrong. Global loves it. Global has spent a ton of money on it. Global content creators are hyping this game up as literally the best gacha of the year, and they're right to be doing so. But this is not good, man. If Smilegate does that, the people will still complain. Yeah, they still complain in Girls Frontline 2. They still complain in Snowbreak, man. Yeah, it sucks. Once you start letting them dictate the direction of the game, then they control you. They own you. Because whenever you do something that they don't like, then they will put the same pressure on you to trigger the same response from you. Again, like, I'm not gonna doom the game. I don't think this is necessarily the worst case scenario. I think they could definitely implement this in a way that isn't, you know, terribly received. Did they mention the monetization change? They didn't. I didn't see anything about the monetization change in the thread. Let me go back through. Overhaul the main story, compensation, localization, translation, adjustments to gameplay. Oh, monetization. The director acknowledged that raising character trust is currently too difficult due to lack of available gift items. He promised the system would be improved in the first major update to make progression much smoother. The business model. Addressing complaints about monetization, he explained the current model was chosen based on two arguments. The cost to acquire a character is approximately 30% cheaper than in a game like Genshin Impact. The absence of limited time characters allows players a more relaxed long-term approach to collection. He committed to providing more in-game currency and rewards to make character acquisition easier for players. Oh, so they're just gonna reward players more with like a larger array of methods with which to acquire in-game currency. I mean, that sounds good. That's not what I expected to read today, having invested 30 hours or more into Chaos Zero Nightmare so far. What do I think long-term about the state of the game? I think as long as this is a very minor alteration, as long as they are just kind of like gonna attempt to refocus the main character to make the main character a little more integral to the story, I think it'll be perfectly fine. I think as long as they don't like retcon the current existing relationships, then it should be okay. I think once you retcon it, then you've crossed the line. At that point, game is fucked. Move on. But until that point, you know, I wouldn't jump the gun and just automatically assume dead game, EOS, shit decision, because we don't know, again, the extent they're going to go to, how severe it is going to be. Because, like, once more, they might just be trying to integrate the main character a little more into the story by changing certain, I don't know, cutscenes, certain situations, while making, you know, some more impactful scenes more impactful. I know you think that you just hit the end of the video, and technically, yeah, you have. And I know your first reaction is to close out of it at this juncture, but don't. No, instead, I urge you to take a moment here and click one of the videos on screen that are coming up in just a moment so you remain up to date with everything going on in the gacha genre. Trust me, you are not going to regret doing so. Stay flaccid.